This podcast is part of the BombPod Media Network.
All right, I think we're finally up and running here. We're finally ready to go.
Yeah, I think so.
We got to pretend like we're someone different than when we're not talking on the microphone.
I'm eating a quesadilla.
We're the Brohio Podcast. We're Nick and Rob.
Yes.
We're exceptionally excited to be here at the Lucky Star Brewery.
Woo!
Yeah. Give it up for Lucky Star.
Woo!
What are you drinking, Rob?
Wicked mother and eating a quesadilla.
Wicked mudda.
Wicked mother.
I didn't even know if I was going to like it. I love it. I love it. All this dark beer in my mouth.
The darker, the better.
Yeah. So today we're covering Dayton's paranormal, infamous hauntings, all kinds of scary stuff here in Dayton. I didn't realize how scary Dayton was.
You obviously haven't drove through it recently.
Until I tried heroin. As you may know, we're not very PG. So if we do offend you, we're sorry. We're going to try not to. Since we're in public here, we're going to try and keep it as clean as possible. We want to thank the owners for letting us come here tonight. They really went out on a wing here and let us come mess the place up. Thanks again.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
The beer's incredible. You guys have a wonderful establishment. And one of the first things I heard from their daughter was the place burnt down, kids died inside of it, and there was like handprints all over the place. So thanks for that too.
Very welcoming.
And we have all kinds of people that listen to us that are here to see us.
Thank you, guys.
I know you may not have seen us before, and we told all you guys we look like the lead singer from Nickelback, but that's not true. So you're seeing that right now firsthand, and I just want to apologize. Right. And that mannequin over there.
Isn't that the sexiest mannequin ever?
Is she wearing panties? Lucky Star panties. I'm going to get a pair of those before I go. But like we said, if you guys... You got to try the beer here. This beer is fantastic. I have a feeling like 3 of these are going to cause me to take my shirt off.
Give them some more.
We're going to use the Patreon. We got bail money.
Bail money.
So we're drinking the beer to try and calm the nerves. A lot of nerves. So we always start our episodes with a funky news article.
These are always fun.
And today is no exception. We're going to start with I'm going to call this news article Bottoms Up. All right?
I see what you did there.
Yeah. A popular Long Island winery's liquor license was suspended Thursday after a series of wild parties where wasted revelers had sex in public, pooped in neighbors' yards, got in fistfights, according to state officials. Vineyard 48 has amassed a disturbing record of repeatedly serving patrons far beyond the point of extreme intoxication, which they do not do here at the Lucky Star Brewery in Miamisburg, Ohio.
Do not be Vineyard 48.
Right. This strains police resources, wreaking havoc on their neighbors and the surrounding community. Christopher Riano, counsel to the state liquor authority, said in a statement, the last straw was a party last Saturday where the SLA says more than 400 people boogied, banged, and brawled.
Who says boogied?
That sounds like good old WrestleMania.
They were boogieing.
They were pooping. They're pooping everywhere.
Pooping everywhere.
Those who couldn't stand the long line for the restrooms peed and pooped on nearby properties, while a neighbor complained to cops that 2 people were fornicating in the bushes.
Fornicating?
What? Of all the places, I'm not doing it in a bush. That hurts.
I see what you did
Those
there.
things are sharp. Oh, I wasn't trying to do that.
I'm not doing
Oh, man. We're going to get... But a lawyer for the Kachogue Vineyard says the allegations are all false and that he has photos and footage to prove it. For
False
example,
news.
They allege that there were 400 drunk patrons, and we have videotape showing that it's only 6 people, a son and his mom, and a drunk girl, and 2 girlfriends yelling at each other, said Attorney Peter Sullivan. That just sounds like downtown Dayton, honestly. The Vineyard will have a hearing next week to plead its case for reinstating the license. So that's our messed up newspaper article we always start our episodes with, this one being no exception.
Fornication.
Fornication. In a bush.
In a bush.
All right.
On the bush? In the bush?
In the bush.
How do you do that?
Very carefully. And first, we're going to start with the Woodland Cemetery.
Woodland Cemetery. Yeah, this is...
But first, I want to say we had a paranormal team that was supposed to be here. Stand Strong Paranormal. They canceled at the last second. They all had ear infections. Are those contagious? I have kids.
I would think so.
That shit's not contagious.
I guess if you're picking their ears, then picking yours.
Right, they're farting on each other's pillows. That's pink eye.
That's pink eye.
All right.
Wrong. That's an eye and an ear. You're a little
I am not a doctor, but I played one in a movie one time. But we do have Matt Neubauer. He's going to be on later in the show. I don't have his microphone plugged up, or else he'd say hello. Where are you from, Matt? What paranormal team? Fairfield Paranormal.
Thank you,
He's already told us all kinds of scary shit. I'm going to step out whenever he talks because
he jumped in real quick though for us. So
right.
We kind of got no notice for the other team. So thank you.
Yeah, and thank you to all that traveled from far. We have a lot of people here from far away. Thank you so much. But we're going to start with Woodland Cemetery, right in the middle of downtown Dayton.
Yeah.
I snuck in there once.
I've always wanted to go, but I've been too scared.
I snuck in at night. I've never been there during the day.
No, you can pass it during the day whenever you're going to Brown Street.
It looks scary. Minus the crackheads, it looks scary.
I think that's the scariest part.
Woodland Cemetery is actually an arboretum and cemetery combined. It's one of the oldest in the country. Over 100,000 people are buried at Woodland Cemetery. Everyone's just dying to get in there.
That's such a bad joke. I hate it so much.
You got Wilbur and Orville Wright, Irma Bombeck, and the inventor Charles Kettering. Some of the popular names that are buried there at Woodland Cemetery. And I would like to read this is a first-hand account I found on the internet, so you know it's true. Of someone.
If it's on the internet, it has to be true.
So
it has to be.
And for those of you that don't believe on the internet, don't pay that Facebook subscription and see if your account doesn't get shut down.
Yeah,
because it's going to happen. So here goes the story. We got over there late in the day on a Tuesday. We didn't see anyone else around, and we kind of wandered in different directions, looking around, taking notes, and checking on different names. I had also started doing rubbings of some old gravestones, and I was looking at some stones, thinking about taking a rubbing.
Wait. So
someone's being serious about using the word rubbing.
They were looking at stones, thinking about taking a rubbing.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's pretty messed up.
Okay, I'll let you continue.
So maybe I was a bit too focused, but I suddenly noticed that there was a little girl nearby.
That's cute.
A little girl in a cemetery. You can't.
Yeah. You can't go wrong.
You can always trust that.
Right.
She was sitting on a stone, swinging her feet. She had blonde hair and was wearing white tennis shoes. I looked at her and she said hello. She said hello. I said hello. She said hello back to me. Then she jumped up, turned, and ran away. The most curious thing, that there was a blue light that seemed to follow her. I've never seen anything like it. She got a short distance away from me. Lost my spot there.
That just seems like bad manners, first off.
Right.
You're trying to talk to a girl and then she just runs away?
Kids these days, I'll tell you.
Kids. It's the parents.
The blue light sort of went into her face and she was gone. I was really spooked and was standing there with my mouth hanging open. That was enough for me. I was out of that cemetery and it took a while before I was ready to go. My sister had been too far away to see the girl. Later I found out about the ghost of a girl who's been in Woodland Cemetery. I believe that this was the ghost that I saw that day.
Okay.
And like she said, there's lots of first-hand accounts of a girl that hangs out in the cemetery. She's a little girl. Sometimes some people say she's more of a teenager, but she wears white tennis shoes and blue jeans, and she hangs out in gravestones.
That's what all the kids are doing these days.
She's trying to bum a marijuana cigarette.
Let me get that stogie.
Can I get that? It's legal here, you know. And the creepy thing about her is she will openly have a conversation with you and engage you for an extended period of time. So you think you're talking to a real person, and then poof, she's gone.
she starts to talk to you a little bit.
She's gone. Like a Burger King fart.
Once again, bad manners.
Yeah. And like I said before, this is where it gets a little hairy. She sits on the stone and it emits a blue light.
Okay.
Another person shared a similar story. They arrived to take pictures of old tombstones right near the entrance gate. This person went there in the middle of the night, after sundown. And right at the entrance gate, as you walk in the cemetery, there was a little girl playing. The couple walking in was approached by the little girl. The little girl inquired if the couple needed assistance finding their way through the cemetery. They declined and noted how odd it was there was a little girl playing alone in the cemetery at night. That's not creepy.
Not at all.
Little girls play in cemeteries all the time. We can stop the recording for a second. All right, we're back. Hopefully this is a little better now. We're a piece of shit amateurs, all right? We're trying. We're trying here. We're trying to make a really good impression.
We have a DJ that brings one speaker.
Yeah. Audio files. It's better than the other kind of files you can be. Whatever.
That was a horrible joke.
Yeah, so we're going to skip to the next story because I can't remember where I'm at. We're still at Woodland Cemetery here, though.
We are.
This is a boy and his dog. I've seen this gravestone before.
See, I haven't, and I question this story, but let's go ahead.
All right, this is the gravestone belonging to Johnny Morehouse. It's a statue of a boy that appears to be sleeping with his hand, his head in his hands, and there's a dog with his arm and paw draped over the boy. The dog appears to be protecting the boy. As the story goes, Johnny was a 5-year-old boy. He and his parents, John and Maury, lived in the back of a family shoe repair business. And anytime you live in the back of a family shoe repair business, you're asking for problems.
Yes.
He was outside playing, and this was said to be near the Miami and Erie Canal. Present day, this would be like Patterson, near the library in downtown Dayton. That's prime area for crack cocaine, as far as purchasing. The boy and the dog are playing along the canal. The boy fell in the water. The dog attempted in vain to save the boy. The dog was able to pull the boy out. This is live.
Keep going.
Okay. We can... Whatever we need to do here. The boy fell in the water, and the dog pulled the boy out, and he pulled him to safety, but it was too late. The boy had already passed away. The legend says the dog appeared at the gravesite of the boy several days after he was buried. The dog at that point refused to leave the gravesite, and people would walk by and give the dog food, kind of take care of him, because the dog just refused to leave the gravesite of the boy.
Okay.
Now, when people walk the cemetery, they leave little trinkets and toys for Johnny.
Okay.
We have beer. I'm good.
Here's my problem with this story. And I think whenever I looked it up, this was the one story that they said that may or may not be true. My problem with this story, it's exactly like an episode of Futurama. Called Jurassic Bark. It was the saddest episode I've ever heard of in my entire life, and I think it made me cry grown man tears. Okay. It's actually based off of a story. It's a Japanese story. Where
Japanese people don't have dogs, they eat dogs.
That's true. But the dog's owner died. The dog's owner died, and then the dog sat on his grave until the day the dog died.
Well, there's not.
So I think it's kind of a continuation from that story, but still.
Not only one dog can mourn, multiple dogs can mourn.
Well,
you're not Caesar Milan.
I guess that's true.
You're not a cat whisperer. As the legend goes, the dog stayed at the gravesite. He mourned, and that's where the dog died, was at the grave. And now when you go to Woodland Cemetery, you can hear barking when you visit this gravesite, and you can't pinpoint where the barking is coming from. And one other thing, a lot of times late at night, you can see the boy and the dog running through the cemetery together playing. And a few years ago, vandals cut... This is...
You're laughing.
Terrible. They cut the dog's head off.
Aww.
It's a statue. It's a dog, and he's got the kid in his arms, and it's the gravestone. It's really nice. It's beautiful. Someone cut the dog's head off.
Of the statue.
That's
rude.
That's going hard in the paint right there. Sauna...
That's just rude. That's
sawing a statue
kids.
In half. East Dayton kids.
Once again, kids.
You got days. East Dayton kids here? One of our listeners here? Yeah.
He's so offended.
Right.
Triggered.
Looks like it.
He's triggered.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, this is fluid here. This is live. Trying to get the best sound possible. Those speakers definitely help out, though. I'm glad one of us has it together. Well,
not me.
Right. So that leads us to our next story.
The Bessie Little Bridge.
Bessie Little Bridge. And if you don't know about Brohio, we're kind of a true crime podcast as well. We cover like murders, conspiracies, aliens, how to drink beer with your butt.
All things beautiful.
Yeah. So this is more of a true crime story here. This is actually the Ridge Avenue. This is the Ridge Avenue Bridge near Triangle Park.
Yeah.
And Triangle Park is actually it's a hot spot for gay prostitutes. That is in the news.
All right.
That is not from me. That's from there. You can look up your local police reports. That's not me being a funny guy. You can check it out. A lot of gay prostitutes at Triangle Park.
If that's your thing.
Yeah.
If not, it's all right.
I'm into this beer right here. In the 1920s, a young woman by the name of Bessie Little, she was 23 years old. She was in a relationship with Albert France.
Okay.
Old Albert, Fat Al.
Old Al.
Bessie was adopted as an orphan when she was 2 years old. She lived in Troy, Ohio up until that point.
Troy.
I didn't think like orphanages were real things. But when you watch an old movie, there are orphanages. So I guess they are a real thing. You can just go drop your baby off if you don't want it.
There's really orphans. Yeah, that's really a thing.
Modern day, they have the boxes at the fire department. Like if you don't want your baby, you can just take your baby to the fire department and put it in a box and be done with the baby.
That happened to me.
No repercussions. You said that happened to you?
Yeah.
Is that why you slobber a little bit all the time?
Yeah. It's getting a little too close to home now.
Right. Albert France was the boyfriend of Bessie Little. Albert grew up in Tadmore, Ohio, which it's actually kind of close to where we're from. It's the Taylorsville Metro Park. There's an old ghost town right along the banks there, and that's Tadmore. A lot of people don't know that.
Ricky and I ride our bikes up there a lot.
Yeah, and you can. There's still the foundations for some of the houses and whatnot that have gone to the wayside over the years.
The ruins.
The ruins of Tadmore. Just give me a tad more. Not too much. Just give me a tad more.
A tad. Just a tad. A smidge.
Right. But everyone that can vouch for Albert said he was an exceptional young man. Albert was active in the community. He taught people how to hunt turkeys and all kinds of other shit that they did in the 1920s. I don't know.
All right. With a name like Albert, of course he's an upstanding citizen.
They probably didn't have iPhones. So
I would assume not. In the 20s, I think that's a little bit out.
What did they do?
A little dated.
In the 1920s if they didn't have smartphones?
Played with sticks.
They killed people and they threw them off bridges. And that's what we're about to go over right here, okay? Like I said, Albert was known as an exceptional young man. He started a relationship with Bessie, even though Bessie was 3 years younger than him.
Uh-oh.
Apparently, no. He was 3 years younger than Bessie. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
She was robbing the cradle.
All right.
So Bessie was older. Albert was younger.
Trying to find him a nice cougar.
Then on July 17th, 1896, Bessie's mom was walking out to the barn, and she found him fornicating in the barn. And I had to do some extra research to make sure it was Bessie and Albert, and not some weird Dayton stuff in the barn. That I'm hoping
heroin. Right,
they were doing heroin in the barn in the 1920s. That's back when that was that pure stuff, not that Mexican black tar.
It was that Walter White.
Yeah. And instantly, Bessie's mom became irate. She said, "You guys have to get married right now. This is the middle of the night."
What a mom thing to say. Right. What a mom thing to say.
I know. As soon as you're done doing that, we're going to take you to the courthouse and we're going to make this official. Mom.
Oh, Mom.
Right. Yeah. Like I said, in that instant, she was completely irate. Albert quickly defended himself. He said, I'm too young. My father won't let me. So what I think was happening here, this was a slump buster situation.
Okay.
Bessie was a nasty. He didn't want anybody to know about Bessie. That's why
was he a side chick?
Right. That's why they were doing it in the barn. And he didn't. And he's like, no, I can't marry her. I can't do that. So he did not seek permission from his father because deep down he did not want to marry Bessie.
Makes sense.
At this point, Albert was forbidden from seeing Bessie. Not to be discouraged, he was seen sneaking out in the middle of the night
Of the barn?
of her bedroom window.
Oh, okay.
So Bessie must, they must have some really nice conversations that made him want to keep coming back. Bessie and Albert tried to stay at a local motel. I'm sure it was probably the Liberty Motel there on North Dixie, as you can see from the highway. But Albert couldn't keep enough money flowing to make the stay at the hotel happen. So then Bessie moved in. She got a room at the local boarding inn. Can you board humans? You can board your dogs, but can you board humans?
Does that mean a motel?
Apparently in the 1920s you could.
Okay.
Then on August 27th, she left the boarding. They said she was in a bit of a haste, and she told the landlady she was going to meet her love, Albert.
Good old Al.
The next day, Albert showed up at the boarding house, and he asked for Bessie, which everyone was kind of confused at that point because they were together the day before, allegedly. Albert told them he'd not seen her in days. But whatever you do, don't call the cops.
Do not call the cops.
There's nothing to be alarmed. I haven't seen her in days. Do not call the cops.
I didn't kill her or anything.
He said, I think she went to go see her parents because her parents kind of she was forbidden from going home. They hated her. And you'll even see,
they hated her.
Towards the end, it's kind of really prevalent how much they hated her. On September 2nd, there was a man taking a dip in the river. And apparently that was a thing. If you swim in our rivers now, you
come out with a third arm.
You got some shit you can't take off with a razor, that's for sure.
A fourth arm if you're lucky.
So this guy was swimming in the river and he saw a shoe floating, so he swam over to the shoe only to find Bessie Little and her decomposing body.
Aw, that's a bummer.
She was dead.
That's a buzzkill.
Bessie was dead.
So matter of fact.
No more of that fornicating in the barn. And if any of you are of relation to Bessie Little here today, I do apologize.
Cheers to Bessie.
Cheers to Bessie. They had some initial issues identifying the body. They used a gold tooth, but in my notes I have it written down as gold tooth.
T-O-O-F.
And they used the gold tooth to determine the identity of Bessie.
Gold tooth.
And it was kind of assumed that she'd committed suicide.
Okay.
In her room, they located an unsent letter to Albert's dad, Jacob. She said she was pregnant, and she begged for his permission for the marriage to save the honor.
Oh, no.
It's not going to work. That's not how that works.
Yeah.
When Albert got interrogated by the police department, he claimed that she'd been depressed and that she probably most likely killed herself. And the cops bought that. They said she jumped off the bridge to her death. Case closed. They buried her.
Yeah, they really didn't look into too much details.
No, they had coroners at the time, and the coroner is actually involved in this case. But they didn't look at the body at all. Then a few days later, there were two boys playing on a bridge, which is the Ridge Avenue Bridge, the Bessie Little Bridge. It's been replaced since then. The two boys were playing on the bridge, and shortly after they discovered two tortoise shell hair combs, and Bessie's parents said those combs definitely belonged to Bessie.
Okay.
They also found the bridge several puddles of blood. So if she committed suicide, why was she bleeding on the bridge before she jumped off? That doesn't make much sense.
Not at all.
There were large splotches of blood on the railing of the bridge. There were wagon wheels that rolled through the blood. And Albert, he was known for trucking around town in his wagon.
Okay.
He was always in his wagon. They call it the dirty wagon.
Is it the shaggin' wagon?
It's a shaggin' wagon.
Right.
Once they found all the blood and they started to connect the dots here, that was kind of the alarm. And the coroner, they dug her body back up to re-examine the remains. The coroner discovered that she died from 2 gunshots to her right ear hole.
How do you miss that as a coroner?
Of all the places to shoot someone, why on the ear hole?
There's already a hole there.
Yeah. You could bend the bullet.
Yeah.
Isn't that possible?
I assume.
And the coroner, he did determine that the first shot was fatal.
Okay.
So Bessie, when she did commit suicide, she did not shoot herself in the head twice.
The second shot was...
someone shot her twice.
Right. They're just trying to upstage the first shot.
And you have to think that Albert shoots to the number 1 on the list as far as people that killed Bessie. Right?
Makes sense. Yeah. You would think.
Once Albert was presented with these facts, he changed his story.
Oh, you done messed up, Albert.
Anytime you're involved in a murder investigation, the first thing you want to do is change your story.
You done messed up, Albert.
That's some advice from me. Just change your story. That's the best thing you can do to get out of it.
Because that's going to keep you completely credible.
Yes. He said that he and Bessie were indeed taking a ride in the shaggin' wagon. They just got done bumping uglies in the barn.
All right.
She hopped out of the wagon, and she shot herself in the head.
Okay.
Twice, mind you.
He was that bad.
She said, "This first shot didn't kill me, so I think I'm going to shoot myself again." This is according to Albert. She shot herself in the head twice. Albert said he panicked. They didn't have, he couldn't call 911. He didn't have his razor. He couldn't flip open his phone and call anybody.
He would have to go to a landline.
Yeah. Albert said he panicked, and once he realized he was more than likely to be the one to blame, he launched her over the bridge.
Oh, nice.
He did not use a bungee cord.
What a gentleman.
For good measure, he said he threw the gun in too. He's completely wiping his hands of this shit. Because everyone knows guns are the devil and they kill people.
Of course.
Of course. He was immediately arrested and held without bond. He pled not guilty. Prosecutors wanted to say he was sick of Bessie's shit, and a breach of promise lawsuit would cause him to lose $1,700 from his mother's estate that he would collect when he turned 21.
And let's face it, in the 20s, $1,700 is like $1 million nowadays.
Yeah, think about how many magazines they could buy with women in swimsuits back then. A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for shock value, this coroner, he was a real shithead. He brought Bessie's decapitated head.
Oh, this is so good.
Into court.
Okay.
And he had it in a preservation jar. Like you put pig's feet in or pickled eggs?
Yeah.
He had her head in the jar. He pulled the head out by the hair and slammed it down on the table for the jury. This caused all the female jurors to pass out, shit their pants, fall over, whatever you do when you see a decapitated head.
What a guy.
Exactly. Thank you, Mr. Coroner from 1920. In the trial, a sporting goods store clerk said he sold Albert a .32 caliber revolver about 2 weeks prior, and they did they found fragments of .32 caliber rounds.
Snitch.
Shards is what they called those. And then here's my favorite part about this whole entire story. He was sentenced to death.
Okay.
Electric chair. But they had people from hundreds of miles come from all over to watch the execution. They had to turn all these people. They had to turn a lot of people got to watch the electric chair, but they had to turn a lot of them away because they were too drunk.
Okay, that makes sense. George Carlin always said that if you were to televise executions, that it'd be the best. The ratings would be sky high.
They would definitely watch.
I still agree. God rest his soul.
People are terrible.
I would buy cable. I would pay for cable just for that.
So there was complete and utter chaos at the death house. They're turning people away for being drunk. There's people pissing their pants. After the first 2 zaps in the electric chair,
shagging in the bushes,
Albert didn't die. He said, "I'm doing this for Bessie," and
that's a hard ass.
He's staying alive. All right.
Right.
They hit him with the 3rd, 4th, and 5th zap. That took him in. He died.
Poor guy.
And the family, they disowned Bessie so much that before they knew she was murdered, when she died, they buried her in a different cemetery completely away from the family. That's how much they disowned Bessie. I told you they hated her.
Yeah.
And you didn't believe me.
I didn't believe you at all.
And then after the trial, they moved her body with the rest of the family at none other than Woodland Cemetery. And they say, if you go to that bridge now, you can see Bessie wandering a bridge with a baby in her arms. Her unborn baby.
So she's at Woodland Cemetery too, so it ties in with the first story.
Right, but she doesn't wander Woodland, she wanders the Bessie Little Bridge.
Okay.
And mind you, if we do go to this bridge, I would take a firearm. It's in the hood.
It's the only thing that can stop her.
In a very bad spot of town.
Well, speaking of the hood, next is Stivers.
How dare you? That is a school of art. That is a school of art.
It is. It is a school for the arts.
Yeah.
We got Stivers School for the Arts next, and this is if you haven't heard of it, it's a school located on East 5th Street in Dayton. This was founded back in 1908.
And they're terrible at all sports.
They're horrible at all sports, which is funny. Now, as it is a school that is over 100 years old, of course, there were plenty of mysteries residing within the walls of this school. The main mystery is of a woman by the name of Mary Tyler. Now, until the 1930s, the school had a full Olympic-sized pool in the basement of their athletic complex, which was eventually covered over and converted into classrooms. Got to keep them
people
warning.
wonder why the dropout rates skyrocket. Anytime you close,
Get rid of the pool.
if you can't swim, what are you doing going to school?
Now, of course, the most famous of the spirits were the Mary Tyler, who was a former teacher at Stivers. Now, she taught at the school in the 1920s. She was found face down, dead in the pool, fully clothed. Now, in one hand, she held a broken pointer, and in the other hand, she had a locket. Now, in the inside of this locket, there was a picture of her parents on one side, and then on the other side, there was a picture of a man, but the head was ripped off of the picture.
And she was a teacher?
She was a teacher, yeah. So she was...
Slut.
She was found face down dead. So now, she was believed to have been connected intimately with one of her students, who at the time was a senior. So...
See, that stuff has happened all through time.
Yeah, it's not just modern days.
Right.
Now, after she was found, the student that she was supposedly involved with had never returned to school and had never been seen or heard from again. So now, the question remains: was this the student in the picture was in the locket? So did he kill or drown her in the pool and tear the picture of the locket to protect himself?
He died from a venereal disease.
Or
she was a dirty butt.
She probably was. Or even was he killed as well by someone that we don't know about? So many students and maintenance staff have claimed to have seen Mary's figure levitating above the area where the pool was and floating in the lower levels of the tunnels that are beneath the school. And they are constantly just banging on pipes and loudly wailing.
Banging on a trash can.
Strumming on a street light.
Yeah, you're showing your age right now.
Doug, yeah. It was a really good show. We still watch it. Now, there's an author named Karen Lavin who wrote a book called Dayton Ghosts. Now, during her research of the Stivers School for Arts, she said this on the school. Stivers gave off a distinctly weird vibe, and not only when I was looking down into the bowels of the old swimming pool where Mary was found dead.
Bowels.
But throughout the school.
Keep your head out of your bowels.
It truly seems to have a very deep history of hauntings in its century of life, and at the same time, it is a hub for artistic creativity. Amazing combination. So, all in all, Mary gets down with students. She's hanging out in the basement. Give her a call.
Yeah. You gotta wonder what drives a teacher to do that.
Good question. Where were those teachers at when we were in school?
My gym teacher, she was a female, but she had a penis. No doubt about it. And to cover another quick snippet here, we got 5th and Ludlow. And I just wanted to clear this up for some people. 5th and Ludlow, there's an old cemetery that has been paved over. They got the sidewalks over it. But if you ever find yourself in the area of 5th and Ludlow, those are not ghosts. Those are prostitutes. They look dead, but they're real people. So I wrote this website and I let them know that they should probably take this down because that intersection, it is haunted, but not by ghosts. And then we have the old courthouse in downtown Dayton. It was built in 1850, but due to rapid expansion of the city, it was home for the courts for only about 30 years. Dayton's old courthouse, this is pretty cool, they still have the gallows on the property there where they would do the public hangings of all the criminals. Oftentimes inside the old courthouse, you can hear footsteps, and they ascend to the judge's chamber, and you can hear soft moanings also in the judge's chamber. And when you think of a judge, you think of an old man with like a really bad prostate anyways. So
yeah, of course.
I oftentimes wonder if you still suffer from these physical ailments after you become dead and you become a ghost.
That's a good question.
Like if you die from sitting on something sharp Does your butt hurt in the afterlife?
Does anybody know?
And that leads me to my next segue here. We have our paranormal expert here, Matt Neubauer. Let's check that mic, Matt.
Hey, how's it going?
Get a little closer.
A little bit closer. How's that?
Make sweet love
All
to the
way
microphone.
up in here.
I got you turned all the way down.
Well, you see, turn me down.
No, we need to turn you up.
Turn it all.
Turn it all up.
Check.
Nobody.
I like that.
Check.
My mic was good earlier.
Check. Check.
How's that? A little bit better.
I think that's better.
A little bit better.
Try that.
Test, test. 1, 2. Test. Mary had a little lamb.
I think we're good. Anywho,
Yeah, you just have to get as close as possible there.
All right, I'll get up in here.
There
all
you
up
go.
in there. All up in.
not that much in there.
Try that.
That wasn't my fault. I was making something vibrate.
Yeah. It tends to happen in these parts. All right, so Matt, you are from which paranormal team?
Fairfield Paranormal Investigators. Also, thanks for having me here, by the way. It's nice to know I was Plan B. That always makes me feel
Oh,
good.
dang, he got us.
That's how you got here is because your mom skipped Plan B.
Right. And he says, "Hey, man, I'll be over here at Lucky Star. I really need your help. You know, you come over here and we'll be at the brewery. I'll give you some beers. Be drinking all night. I get here and I get a half cup of warm water. That's all
I
I've
didn't
had.
even think of you, man.
Oh yeah, obviously. Plan
Sorry.
B. Don't know beer. You know.
And Matt, he came in raw dogging. He said,
Oh, shit.
I want to know what you've seen and what you've experienced.
Yeah, he did kind of run us through the gauntlet there.
Yeah. I'm like, hey, man,
I just kind of see who I'm playing with. You know.
relax.
You ever seen any ghosts, man?
Yeah. So, what is the flagship investigation as far as the team that you're a part of? What's the one you guys hang your hat on?
Man, there's been so many. I don't know if we would actually say. And we've even been back to a couple of them. So, I mean, we've been in things like Saddamsville Rectory, which is kind of down in Cincinnati. Waverly Hills, we've done that one. That's pretty large one. That's been a lot of the
Waverly Hills?
Waverly Hills Sanitarium.
Did you wear a diaper for that one?
No, I didn't need to.
I would have.
Going down the death chute, all the way down to the bottom.
You went down the death chute?
All the way down.
A terrible wedgie.
All the way down, yeah.
Then you do
Going down was easy, coming up.
Oh my God, will you stop doing that?
It's all of you.
It's not me.
We're going to take your beer away.
The children. Oh,
The children
no, don't say
ghosts.
that. They don't want this to happen, but it's going to happen.
Yeah, they think we're going to burn the place down. That's how they died.
Poor things.
Right.
They are playing with fire back here, brewing this nice beer, so be careful.
Yeah.
Don't jinx us or nothing.
And if you haven't tried the beer, try a beer because this stuff is wonderful. I got the Wicked Mutta.
That's like your fourth or fifth one, isn't it?
I don't know.
That's why your sound's all messed up. Take a big swig of that. It looks good.
I have no professional training. So, and like I just asked, did you also do Mansfield as well? Mansfield
No,
prison?
we've not done Mansfield. That's one thing that we've not done. It's actually, some of these places have become so publicized, sometimes it's hard to get into. We actually look for some of the ones that have not been experienced that
That's
much.
kinda
Go
how-
in there and break our own grounds, and
That's kind of what we try and do is cover topics that aren't really covered because
Exactly.
people
It's difficult. It's very difficult.
It is.
people can they only want to hear about Jeffrey Dahmer so many times.
Right. And after all the shows come out and all that kind of stuff, then you get a flood of everybody is their own paranormal investigator, and then they go.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Right.
You know, I see
Oh,
some
yeah.
dust, so it's haunted. And
And in this first paranormal team that I tried to have out here, they had a secretary. You don't have a secretary.
nah,
What's that say about your operation?
exactly. Low key, baby. Low key.
Low key.
Low key. I'll have your people get a hold of my people.
So take us through some of the most tense moments you've experienced as a paranormal investigator.
Actually, I've never really felt to the point where I was tense or nervous or anything as far as that nature. I mean, one of the ones that was kind of an eye-opener, again, we were over at the Saddamsville Rectory, which is down in Cincinnati, and it's known for more of its dark,
Like this beer.
spirits, maybe we'll
Just
say.
like this beer
yeah,
right here.
Yeah, dark beer, dark
and
spirits.
heavy.
Yeah, it wasn't in the best area of Cincinnati either. So
There's not a good part of Cincinnati.
No. But the team had been there before, and this was my first time going, and they told me that I should probably wear a cross just to make sure
Oh, nice.
to protect myself just a little bit in case there was some evil entity there.
Christ.
There's no more better of a warning than, you should probably wear a cross.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm like, all right. So I was able to actually obtain a cross. I wore it.
You bought one?
I had to find one. Yeah, you know.
Went to the Goodwill.
You built one?
So I came down, so I went
2x4s.
all the way from up there down to Cincinnati, walked in the door, I wasn't in there about a minute, and the cross somehow came off my neck, slid down in front of me, dropped right on the floor in front of all of us, right there.
Holy shit.
On inspection of the necklace, it wasn't broken, it was actually unhooked.
Was there anything else on the floor besides the cross?
A couple people I was with, they made a little doo-doo, but
Little slip?
Was there a turd?
You slipped some corn slipped.
But that was probably one of my, and we had experiences all night that night, all sorts of things. So that was a very interesting place.
I would have to say.
Absolutely. Another one I'd say would be the sanitarium down in Waverly. Multiple.
That place, they housed like crazy people and killed them there, right?
Well, it was a sanitarium, but then it was used for tuberculosis hospital.
yeah.
TB hospital.
So
Yeah.
tens of thousands and thousands of people died. That's why they put in.
They did that at Athens, the Athens hospital too.
Yeah.
the death chute.
As far as the tuberculosis goes, if you farted wrong, they would kill you.
Yeah.
That's how that
Very
works.
true.
It's right in the air.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, this place, when we first pull up to it, it's monstrous, huge, and you think of all the people that actually just go there and pass away. And like I said, they would actually build this death chute into it, so because they didn't want to have the people, the patients there, see the bodies come out.
Dead bodies. Okay.
So depressing and all that kind of stuff. Hey,
Jesus.
all these dead bodies
It was
going to
just
roll by me.
a garbage chute for people.
Exactly. So they took them down there, and at the very bottom of the chute is railroad tracks. And what those railroad tracks are put in for is that they would load them up on rail cars, take them down just a little bit down the road, and they had a mass grave where they would bury
No
the
way.
majority of the people there. Right. So it's just, you can actually look onto it. If you get onto Google, you can see where the actual mass grave sits, right in the woods, right next to the railroad tracks.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, in there we had things from anything from lights turning on and off by themselves. We've had thermometers. We would actually talk to them and have them decrease the room temperature.
Now, anytime you have like electronic instability like that, is that like electromagnetic?
EMF meters.
Okay.
Yeah, we use those. I mean, that could be some signs of things.
What's that energy called when it affects your electronics like that?
Electromagnetic field.
Okay.
Yeah. So we would beforehand, we usually go through there and do a sweep to try to get a base of where we're at. But since that place was closed down, there's no electronics in there or anything like that. We really didn't have to worry about any type of a feedback as far as those things go.
Right.
But we had, like I said, we had the temperatures. We'd ask it to lower the temperature in the room by 1 or 2 degrees. It did so. We said thank you, and then the temperatures would start coming back up.
Nice.
We had lights that would go on and off on command. We'd use it, to ask questions. Hey, turn it on for yes, leave it off for no, and was able to actually experience communication, intelligent communication.
And it responded.
I usually, every time I go into an investigation, I try to go in completely, what do you call it?
Like a skeptic?
There you go. I was looking for that word.
That's kind of what we do. We try and debunk stuff, but sometimes
You have
there's
to.
too much to the story that makes sense, and it can't be debunked.
Well, right. Once you get to the point to where you've debunked everything you can, and the only thing left is, I don't know what the hell that's going on there.
Supernatural.
Something is paranormal. Now,
Exactly.
doesn't necessarily mean it has to be ghosts or spirits all the time, but something is definitely paranormal. So it could be a multitude of things. But I mean, when you were in the Waverly, if you look down the hallways, you could stand there and just concentrate, look down the hallways, and you could see shadows. Now, when I say shadows, all the lights were off. We had a little bit of moonlight coming in, that way you could get some ambient light.
Yeah.
But you would see the
Sexy.
dark. Yeah, it was in the hospital where tens of thousands of people died in the dark. You could see the shadows, and it's not really a shadow, it's more of a dark spot. Where there was light, the light would be gone, of going in and out of rooms, back and forth across the hallway.
Oh, God.
Some amazing things, absolutely amazing things. And I go back and look at those things, and I cannot debunk it. You say, okay, my eyes are playing tricks on me, but other people say the same thing. I mean,
So you don't consider yourself a skeptic at this point?
I still haven't had that.
I think you have to be. I think you have to be.
I still haven't had that thing in my face. It just comes up and slapped me. I mean, I have seen people been scratched. I've been scratched, but I still need that right in my face. I want that.
I feel like if you go into a situation where you are automatically a believer, you kind of cripple yourself a little bit.
Absolutely. You can't.
You're willing to bend your like
you start to see things because you want to see
exactly
things.
Exactly.
You know, you're in a room and a mouse runs behind you and farts. Oh, that's a ghost.
It's a ghost.
You know, so if you already expect that anything,
That was a ghost fart.
right? Yeah, ghost fart, mouse ghost fart.
That may be pleasant. You never know.
So yeah, you always do that. You go in and you want to try to debunk everything that you have.
Yeah.
And that's really the only way to hold a proper investigation of those types of things.
Was there a certain event in your life that kind of drew you towards, I guess, the urge to investigate?
What popped my cherry?
What popped your cherry?
What was that first thing? When I've always had some odd things here, and I think most people, at one point in their life say, man, that's kind of odd, this, that, whatever. One time I was in my grandmother's house, and my grandfather had just passed away not too terribly long ago, but I was doing work on the outlets upstairs,
right?
Converting them from the old outlets, from the old house to the newer stuff. And I was talking to my grandmother. I was like, all right, well, we need to shut, where's the circuit breakers for the upstairs? And she says, I don't know which ones they are. Let's just shut the whole house down. It's fantastic, right?
That works.
Good idea. So I'm crouched down in front of the outlet. I'm screwing them in and, doing all this kind of stuff. And all of a sudden I get this huge whiff of my grandfather's aftershave. I mean, like, very, very strong. And I'm like, yeah, he must have spilled some aftershave up here, but he hadn't been upstairs for years,
Right.
But I got this real strong smell of his aftershave. And then as I'm sitting here thinking about why in the hell do I smell his aftershave, knocked me on my
Really?
ass. Yes. Knocked me back. So my
Electricity.
Something did.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking it's electricity because my hands are up in there. So I stumble downstairs. I'm like, my damn grandma, she forgot I was upstairs doing it. She flipped the switches back on me.
Gotcha.
Yeah. She goes, ha. So I'm like, I'm hollering for her. Where are you at? And she was back in her room folding her clothes and stuff. And I'm like, did you go back down in the basement and flip those circuit breakers on? No, sure didn't. So we went down there and went into the basement where the circuit breakers were, and everything was still off.
Wow.
Something knocked me on my ass right when I was smelling my grandfather's aftershave. Now, I don't know if that was him kicking me in the ass, telling me a little something, or
he probably
letting me know he's there.
Smacked the shit out of you for taking in his aftershave for a little too long.
Maybe, it must have been. But that was that one of those, I can't explain it.
No, there's no explaining that.
And that was kind of like that first. And I'm still, I think some of the biggest things is like when we actually will turn a flashlight and just set a flashlight, an off flashlight down, everybody stay away from it, leave it there. We'll do questions, EVP sessions or whatever it is, and then we'll finally go to the flashlight and say, hey, if anyone's here, can you turn the flashlight on?
Yeah.
And then the flashlight slowly creeps on.
I'm good. I'll pass.
And then you'll say, hey, thank you. I appreciate you doing that. Do you mind turning it off? And then, like, we usually use those little mini mag lights, the kind of twist tops. So you can see them slowly in that light dimming as they're working it. God. And those I can't explain. I cannot explain.
That's the work of the devil. That's the only way to explain that.
It's the devil.
You're not doing God's work.
But of course, when that happens, then that brings in everything. That brings in questions of life. Where is the afterlife? What is afterlife? What do you do?
Here is my thing, and that we've learned so much stuff doing this podcast, and we've done a lot of dark, demonic things. And do you ever feel like you're opening yourself up to bad things whenever you, I guess, you're tempting these ghosts? you're tempting them to come out and show themselves.
You're kind of aggravating them and then, like, agitating them.
Yeah,
you're pissing in their Wheaties.
Yeah.
we normally try not to antagonize them or call them out to a sense.
Right.
That's one thing that we normally don't do unless we really want to get a situation from them.
I feel like that would be more for like an urge for shock value, like someone with not as much experience trying to.
Yeah. And that could be, and that's the thing. Like, we'll go to people that have problems. Their kids are being bothered by something, they don't know what it is, or and they're constantly their kids saying this has happened, or they're seeing paranormal things in their house. And
so you guys get house calls?
Yes, we do. Who are you going to call?
Wow.
They call
Ghostbusters.
Yes.
Right.
So and we'll go to try to help them out. And sometimes it's very something that easily debunked, but then there's other times that it can't be, and then we'll do sessions in there to where. Sometimes all you got to do is they want to be recognized.
Yeah.
Sometimes
I've read that a lot.
if you ask them questions or say, hey, how can we help you? What do you need? Then they could just be trying to reach out. It
Right.
could be a family member. It could be something trapped there.
They just want the acknowledgement to somebody to know that, like, hey, I'm here.
Yeah, but as far as that whole demonic, I'm still waiting for that whole succubus experience.
Yeah,
Aren't we all?
The succubus thing would be kinky for sure.
I'm still waiting on that. That's not happened. But
I've been waiting 31 years for that.
Not going down.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, a lot of things have happened. A lot of things I can't describe, but I still haven't had that slap me in the face.
When you guys do the house calls, have you ever had an experience where you've done your investigation, you've seen what's going on, and at the end of the day, you have to tell them to seek like a spiritual counsel type deal, like maybe a priest?
I mean, we have recommended that before. I usually say, hey, you need to call a young priest and an old priest and have them get over here ASAP, because your kid's up there spitting pea soup. No, that type of thing. No, I mean, there are certain things you can do. There's what you can do is called cleansings.
Right.
One of the things you can burn sages.
A little bit of sage.
A little sage.
Yeah, just do cleanse.
Right.
Yeah.
And one of the ladies on our team, she actually will do cleansings for them if they so desire.
Yeah,
some people are like more enthused about it and say, no, now that we know kind of what we're dealing with, let's keep it a little bit.
No. Why would you want that?
I'm good.
That's such uncertainty. I mean,
You're not staying in my house unless you're paying rent.
It could be somebody, it could be family member.
yeah.
They could
I don't
maybe
care.
want to still have that contact. I don't know.
Well, that's what a lot of people.
I mean,
What I've read.
I get that people are, uneasy with death of relatives, and they want to feel like those relatives are still there watching over them. But I mean, if it's to the point to where it's disrupting your family, I mean, to what extent do you let that go to?
Right. And I mean, one of the other things that just here actually kind of personally just recently happened is my father passed away just within this last year, and they say that if you see dimes,
I've heard that.
that's them trying to communicate. And
Really?
yes,
I've never heard that.
Yeah, if you see a dime on the floor, that's because a penny you'll walk over. A penny you don't pay no
Right.
attention to, so you'll find dimes.
Right.
And here in the last few months, you'll be there. We've taken, had pictures of something. We know there's nothing there. You come back and there's a dime sitting right
Wow.
where we know no dimes were.
That's almost like that's a comforting feeling, though.
That's pretty cool. I've never heard that.
Yeah, I mean, if you have someone like that, if you ever pay attention, I mean, if those your own experiences, I mean, absolutely, it was. And now that we're all, and it's not just me, it's my family, my mother, everybody's experienced dimes just being anywhere.
That's awesome.
In his truck on the floorboard, boom, all of a sudden there's a dime.
For no reason.
For no reason.
Wow.
Now, could that be something else? It could be.
It very well could
clumsy
be.
person.
It just could be, the tooth
Cash is
fairy.
worth less and less nowadays, so who knows?
That's the tooth fairy.
And when it comes down to actually scientifically decided on, try to figure out what's paranormal or what. I mean, there's no way. I mean, there's no true scientific method, obviously, or we would know.
Yeah, I mean, I would have to think we'd have that figured out by now if there was a scientific measure to it.
Right.
And it's not happening.
And the problem is, on top of that, there are a lot of paranormal, I don't want to say wannabes, but I mean, or they want to just dabble and see.
I think we almost had some paranormal wannabes here today.
Well, that very well could be.
We had the real deal McCoy show up.
Succubus could have been in the ear, or Incubus did something to the ear. I don't know.
Gave him a ear infection.
Yeah.
Put the old
Well, if you
demon
get
dick in there.
Yeah, if you get little things down in there, it could happen.
Very well could.
And we're back here again after a little. Rob, he's going to the bathroom every 3 to 7 seconds.
I have the bladder of a pregnant woman whenever I'm drinking.
Might want to get that prostate check.
Butt babies.
No, I'm no prostate check. I'm good.
Well, Matt, I appreciate you coming here, man, and helping us out and giving us some good content here.
Absolutely, no problem. Enjoyed it, had fun.
Yeah, we got a bunch of stories left here. We're going to talk to the owners of the brewery here shortly. They're going to tell us about the dead babies that are here that burned down. Really looking forward to that. But next we have Library Park.
Local.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there we go. One person. Woo!
Yeah, it's like a block away from here. Library Park.
It's very, very, very close.
And this is actually kind of a funny story.
Yeah, there's a huge backstory on this one.
And you can feel free to help us out on this one because we got this from the interwebs. It started out as Village Cemetery and it has the unofficial record of having the most first-hand ghost sightings in one spot. So that's
impressive.
That's good. That's good. I don't know who keeps that record, but good for them.
Is that a Guinness record?
In the 1880s, it was well documented in the newspapers. There was a ghostly woman that wandered the cemetery.
Yeah, I remember reading about this.
She would appear every night at 9 o'clock, and there was. When I say she would appear every night at 9 o'clock,
legit.
People were coming from out of town. Hundreds of people.
It was like a rock concert.
It was like the Who.
Yeah, people would gather around
to watch this, whatever she was, float around the cemetery and wreak all kinds of havoc. But a lot of people say that this was like a person playing a prank almost. But then you have hundreds of people that were saying,
I saw what I saw.
She's floating around.
Right.
And even to the point that newspapers from out of the state were writing stories about this woman floating around the cemetery. Apparently, the fine residents were so pissed off by her nightly shenanigans, they began to dig the graves up and move. Man. They just said, process of elimination.
Oh, man.
Whoever this bitch is, we're digging her up, and we're moving her somewhere else.
That's no bueno.
And they just started digging up dead bodies.
Nothing good ever happened of digging up dead bodies.
And I'm sorry if this was any of your Miamisburg ancestors. I hope it wasn't. They would dig these dead bodies up. And they would move them one by one to try and eliminate the ghost. Was your grandma?
Sorry. R.I.P. Granny. Yeah.
R.I.P. But this didn't work. The ghost kept on floating around the cemetery. One by one, nothing made the woman stop. One person finally recognized the woman as a member of the Buss family. That's B-U-S-S.
Okay.
She was murdered a few years prior to the occurrences. They finally moved her grave, but it did little to stop the hauntings in the cemetery. Residents became so pissed off, they started an angry mob. And at this point, it was getting the national attention.
Is there any other type of a mob besides an angry mob?
There's an angry mob.
That's
an angry
redundant.
mob over a ghost.
Okay.
There was an article from a Maryland newspaper reporting about the night all these hillbillies, they got together, these people from Miamisburg, and they decided, this is not modern day, so give me a break here. Yeah. They decided they were going to beat the shit out of this ghost in the cemetery. Not just beat it with ball bats, they were going to shoot it too. They shot at this ghost.
God love this area.
The bitch is already dead, all right? What are you going to do? They were trying to chase her out of the cemetery because they wanted all these out-of-towners out of their area.
It's so good.
They didn't want you here, all right?
Buying up all the crack.
Yeah.
We don't like your kind here.
Drinking up all the root beer and shit. Whatever they do in this beautiful city here. And I'm going to read the newspaper article from Maryland from back in the 1800s. It says, 1,000 people surround the graveyard in Miamisburg, a town near Dayton, Ohio, every night to witness the antics of what appears to be a genuine ghost. There is no doubt about the existence of the apparition, as Mayor Marshall, if the mayor says it's legit, then it's legit. So, The revenue collector and prominent citizens testified to have seen her. Last night, several hundred people armed with clubs and guns assaulted the specter. They assaulted her. Okay? Which appeared to be a woman in white. Clubs, bullets, and shots tore through the air, in which the mystic figure floated without disconcerting in its least.
It didn't give a shit.
So
it didn't care.
She don't care. Bullets, clubs, it don't matter. She's just gonna keep floating.
She knows she's dead. She's going along with her
The
day.
town turned out en masse today and began exhuming all the bodies in the cemetery. They said, we can't narrow it down. We're digging up all the bodies.
Oh, God.
We're getting rid of all of them. The remains of the Bus family, composed of 3 people, have already been exhumed. So the Busses, they were tagged as the culprits from this right from the beginning. The town is visited daily by hundreds of strangers, and none are disappointed as the apparition is always on duty promptly at 9 o'clock. The strange figure was at once recognized by the inhabitants of the town as a young lady supposed to have been murdered several years ago. Her attitude while drifting among the graves is one of deep thought, with head inclined forward and hands clasped behind. So she's just wandering the park thinking,
Yeah.
and they're shooting at her.
Poor ghost.
Goats have rights. So do ghosts.
Ghost lives matter.
Goats. Goat lives matter.
Goat lives matter.
So yes, they did eventually reach the point where they dug up all the bodies. They were tired of all these random people in their town, and this is the only way to make it go away. Current day, you have the Carnegie Library, which is constructed in 1910. It's kind of an activity center. They do weddings there, all kinds of stuff.
Humble place.
But it'll go down in history as the only town that tried to kill a ghost. You can
Poor
try
people.
you can try and make ghosts go away, but you cannot kill a ghost.
That's Ohio.
Yeah. OH. Speaking of
Oh.
OH, Penn State got that bitch ass handed to him, right?
Yeah, they did.
Barely. Oh, we're underdogs. And next we have the haunted Oxford Milford Road.
Oh.
And I've experienced this one before.
Spoopy.
This is some serious shit right here. People do not skip past this one because this is real. This is another one. This story goes down as a serial raper. Okay.
Okay.
There was
I'm intrigued.
and anytime there's a raper involved, I'm listening. All right.
All right, yeah. You got my attention.
And the story goes, one night a car pulled up to a home in the area and began flashing its lights, honking its horn. And this is on Oxford Milford Road. That's about, 20 miles from here.
Yeah.
It's not a long drive.
Farther south.
She said she was very scared by what was going on, so she called her boyfriend to tell him to come over and let him know what was going on. The boyfriend hopped on his motorcycle and went as fast as he could to rescue his dame.
What a rebel.
First mistake, a motorcycle.
Yeah.
Death traps.
Going as fast as he could. That's yeah.
On a
cool.
motorcycle.
Good for him.
Unfortunately, he wrecked and died.
Aw.
It said if you go to this location and flash your headlights 3 times and honk your horn, a phantom motorcycle rider will appear on the horizon.
Ghost Rider.
Shit you not, I've been to this place a dozen times. Every single time I go here, you cut the lights, you flash you flash them, you honk the horn, and you wait. And they say that you can see the remnants of the red light floating on the horizon from where his motorcycle's spinning because he's a raper. No, he's running from the raper. You can see the red lights, and you can see a faint red light, and then the red light disappears. And I'm not speaking about first-hand accounts right here. I'm speaking about my account right now. You can
Okay.
see the red lights floating.
Sure.
They disappear. Then you start to see a slight flash over the horizon, like a bright single headlight from a motorcycle. And we can go here right now. I promise you that shit'll work. But it's the Saturday before Halloween, so it's going to be packed and stacked. It's going to be like a Guns N' Roses concert.
Yeah, you're
We're not
going to be
able to get in there.
It's going to be a sit still.
Right. So this light will come over the horizon, and it starts to look like it's riding at you. It's a hilly, there's like hills in front of you, and this single motorcycle light rides at you. And every single time we fire up the car and you shoot towards it, and the thing just disappears, completely gone. There are no roads off in the distance that could create what you're seeing. And that's the most concerning thing for me.
So there's no scapegoat for the lights.
No, there's no scapegoat, but some, I guess they call them, I can't remember, earth lights or something like that. It's the way certain stars and the way the moon reflects off the earth.
Okay.
They can almost produce a light that appears like the headlights from a car. But this looks like a motorcycle light to me. It's a single light.
Yeah.
And you get the red lights accompanied with it. So there's no way to say for sure, what it is or what it isn't, because when you drive towards this thing, it disappears.
Very strange. I'm not buying the moon thing.
The moon landing was faked.
We all know that.
Next week on the Bro Hile Podcast Show.
And we're not going to get those JFK documents either.
No,
Did you see that?
Trump,
CIA shut Trump down.
Yeah, so you can't do it, Cheeto man. You're not getting
So
them.
it's been 50, 60 years since then, so they're obviously hiding something. So
Yeah.
let's just cough it up.
And another popular one we have around here,
I think it's probably the most popular one.
one of our listeners here, he's like, "Hey man, are you covering the Crybaby Bridge?"
Hell yeah.
So we got you, because there's a lot of goofy shit going on at the Crybaby Bridge. It's not just a crybaby. This is my most favorite one because there's midgets involved.
Yeah.
Yeah, midgets.
Give it up for sure, people. Woo.
This is in West Al. Well, this is actually in Gratis.
Yeah.
I've heard about it before. I never realized how in depth this. I can't even say it's a haunting. It's
Well,
so much.
the fact that it's on a place called Fudge Road is kind of
Yeah.
that kind of leads you into what kind of shit show you're about to see.
Well, what they say, if you go there now, it's completely shut down.
Right.
Okay? There's apparently a retired attorney that lives near the bridge, and anytime she sees headlights, she runs outside, she starts snapping pictures, and she has an assistant, like a farmhand, that will chase you off the bridge. He'll get in his truck, like a, fucking jerk, and he'll chase you. But they call the police first, and the cops issue tickets every single time they find people here. So if you don't want no smoke, don't go to Fudge Road. But the story goes, a long time ago, no one can pinpoint the date. So that's the way you know it's not real, if no one knows the date.
Right.
They would... There was a woman, and they say she lost her baby, or the baby died, the baby was aborted.
She just lost it.
It was a stillborn. There's a lot of different theories, but she threw the baby off the bridge. Some say she threw the baby off the bridge to kill the baby, but then she was overcome with such dread that she hung herself underneath of the bridge.
Good.
Right. That's what you get.
Yeah.
Silly bitch. So now when you go there, you turn your car off, kind of the same thing. You turn your lights off, you honk the horn, but then you get a woman that'll run up and she'll scream at you on the bridge. And this is not the woman that lives in the house. This is the crazy woman that threw her baby in the water.
Okay.
If you get out and you say, "Have you seen my baby?" this woman will appear and she'll ask you, "Hey, have you seen my baby?" Or sometimes she comes running out of the woods. She'll scream at you. She'll chase you off the bridge. But not all. And also, you can hear the baby crying sometimes. Sometimes the mom won't appear. You just hear the baby crying. But also on this bridge, there's a story of a white beast that hides under the bridge and in the woods. They say it's like a Bigfoot goat man.
Oh, that's fun.
And that's some serious Preble County inbreeding going on right there. Anytime you get a goat and a man, I promise, it's not good.
No bueno.
So if you creep over the bridge sometimes, you might not necessarily get the... you won't get the baby crying. Sometimes you'll get the beast underneath the bridge, and he growls. And he growls as you drive by. I don't know if he... You can't do that shit in Preble County because they'll shoot you. They shoot animals
That's
there.
a country town, yeah.
That's what they do.
Yeah.
They make corn and they shoot animals. That's really all there is to do there.
That about sums it up.
And if any of you are from Preble County, I'm sorry. You guys probably have real jobs and stuff. I would assume so.
I would hope.
But then it goes a little deeper. You have the crazy woman that lives next to the bridge. Just a few years ago, there was, in 2014, there was a murder. There was two teenage boys. They ransacked a house. They were looking for $20,000.
Okay, yeah.
And this was, like I said, this was fairly recently.
That's not unlikely, though.
They didn't get the $20,000, but they did kill one of the kids inside. And they
Worth it.
Yes. They took his body and they discarded it in the field right next to Crybaby Bridge. So now some people claim to see the boy wandering the bridge. He's he's distressed, obviously.
Right.
But those two guys, they were found guilty of murder. They're in prison right now. Never coming back. Right.
Twist.
Yeah. But here's where it gets good. This is my favorite part of the story. Near the bridge, there's a midget house. And when I say a midget house, it has miniature windows, miniature doors, miniature furniture. Everything's miniature. It's for a midget.
Okay.
It's what a midget house would look like if he made a midget house. But what is in the house, do you ask? Well, midgets, of course. But it's like a cult pack of midgets. I'm not making this up. This is what the people tell me. I do my research.
Okay.
This is what the people tell me. There's a pack of cult midgets that live in this midget house. Because where else is a cult midget going to live but in a midget house? They can be seen running around the fields, causing all type of midget mischief, whatever midgets do. But you can see them running through the fields. But these midgets are not without a job. It's said that these midgets work for the Ku Klux Klan.
Oh, geez.
So the KKK does these ritualistic animal sacrifices there. They kill stray dogs, they kill wild hogs. And this midget house, they're in charge of restricting the movement of the dogs and the pigs. They keep the pigs and the dogs in the house. And when the KKK come for their ritualistic whatever slaughterings, they get the pigs and the dogs from the midget house. And could you imagine what that house smells like?
Well, because of the midgets?
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes midgets, they don't swim well because they're stumpy. It's hard.
Yeah, I can see that.
But I'm speaking in terms of the pigs and the dogs. They just got a house full of pigs and dogs that they're shitting, they're pissing on each other.
I'm sure it's very interesting.
And then the KKK calls and they said, "Hey, we're skipping our meeting this week." So then you got double the pigs and dogs in the house for the week. That's why midgets, you got to help them out. You got to reach out to them and see if they're being held captive in a KKK house. Say, "Hey, do you need help? Are you from the midget house?"
You gotta ask every one of them that just to make sure.
Yeah. So I guess that's a completely weird story for me.
It is very strange.
What do we have next here?
Next, we got Frankenstein's Castle. Frankenstein's Castle. This is AKA Patterson's Castle, AKA the Witch's Castle, AKA Lookout Tower, AKA, well, you get the idea. This tower was built in 1940 and completed in 1941. This is the Hills and Dales area of Kettering. It is approximately 56 feet tall and was built by the National Youth Administration during the Great Depression. And they actually made this out of stones of condemned buildings from the city. There was a lot of theories about the tower itself, including various tales of death. One of the stories tells of how the tower, which was built sometime during the Civil War in this story, but it's not true, They're telling about how this tower was the scene where a woman had climbed to the top of the tower, and after hearing the news of her husband's death, had jumped to her death from the top of the tower. Now, the main story, which we have provided here, was from, looks like May 17th, 1967, and here is the article.
I went there once, man. There's a bunch of like hippies and shit wandering around.
There is.
They were like, they stunk like drugs and shit. No, this was the Frankenstein's Castle in Kettering. I'm completely
Kettering,
positive.
Yeah, a little bit different. Now, this the article was titled "The Legend of the Tower at Hills and Dales Park." Bellbrook girl thought killed by lightning bolt. Bellbrook. A 16-year-old Bellbrook High School sophomore was instantly killed after her and her 17-year-old male companion, a junior at the school, was seriously burned. Apparently victims of a bolt of lightning during a severe electrical storm Wednesday night in Kettering. Kettering police identified the dead girl as Peggy Ann Harmison, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Roy Harmison, Jr., of 4243 White's Drive. They completely doxed them. The injured boy is Ronald Kevin Stevens, son of Mr. and Mrs. William Stevens of 4125 Nedra Drive. He was listed in fair condition this morning at Kettering Memorial Hospital, where he is receiving treatment for burns. Kettering police said they received a report at 8:03 p.m. that someone was injured at Lookout Tower in Hills and Dales Park. The tower stands high on a wooded hill on the side of Patterson Boulevard in the southeast end of the park and is used for observation.
Have you been to it before?
I've seen it before. I've never stopped and actually went up to it, but I've drove through the hills.
They have it boarded off now. You can't.
Yeah, I know it's closed up where you can't go inside of it anymore.
It's creepy.
Yeah. Now, police found the Stevens boy laying at the foot of the stairs. He had been burned on his chest and face. The Harmison girl was found 9 steps up the tower dead. She had been burned extensively on the face and chest area, police said. The best we can tell is that sometime around 7:30 there was a bad lightning storm here, and apparently a bolt of lightning hit the tower. A ball of fire may have hit at the door and rolled up the stairs. That is terrifying. There were no doubt that there were no doubt on their way down, she was in front and got the full force, police said. Police said the tower is made of stone. There's a metal gate on the front. Apparently the couple was out driving, decided to visit the observation tower, and were caught in the storm. Police said they were not sure of all the details because the boy had not been able to remember exactly what had happened. The boy was pretty incoherent and he didn't know anything. He thought that he had gone home, that police had said. So the Montgomery County Coroner's Office said that this morning that it had not yet ruled out the cause of death. However, Kettering police said it no doubt would be ruled accidental death by lightning.
100 million volts straight to the dick.
Right.
That's how I want to go out.
That's a quick end to the means there.
That's a sad story.
It is pretty sad.
Just if some kids out causing mischief,
hanging out with your boo-boo.
Something I've never done, and then it happens.
It does.
I think we're ready for someone from the brewery to come tell us about the dead babies.
Where's she at?
We're going to pause it for a second here. And now we're back with Anna and Glenn. They're the owners of the brewery. They harbor all the demons here, the devil babies. They've got, I just heard something about flowers disappearing in the attic.
There's a puppy.
We've got dead puppies.
No!
Oh my, I thought you were talking about a dead puppy for a second.
There's a live puppy.
That puppy is not dead. There's a live puppy in the brewery.
If he stays here, he might be.
This is the
poor thing.
They use puppies for the premium batch.
Whoa.
No.
Puppy beer.
Glenn says absolutely not.
It's good.
So Glenn, I heard this place kind of started off as a tobacco facility of some type.
Yeah, it was. There were 11 buildings that they built down here. They call it the compound, and they process tobacco in the second and third floor here. If you go up there, there's black pipe that goes around the whole building, and they would run steam through that to dry the tobacco.
Okay.
Then they would sort it down here. The canal went right behind the building, and they would package the tobacco, put it on the canal boats, and send it down the river to the cigarette factories.
Well, anytime you're dealing with tobacco, that's the devil's work right there. Like I've said before, you're dealing dirty.
You're selling cancer to kids.
Yeah. And there was a fire here of some type. Am I correct?
There was a fire here that one of our customers that comes in told us about, and there is the front of the building on the inside. You can see where it's been burned. He told a story that between 1968 and 1972, he couldn't remember the exact year, a homeless lady came in with her kids, and they started the fire to keep warm, and they suffocated. They didn't ventilate.
How old exactly is this building?
It was built in 1840. It's 170 some odd years old.
1940. 1940 or
1840.
1840.
Yeah, no, 1840.
It's older than my dad.
I would hope.
And I talked to your daughter earlier, and I swear to, when we asked her about the ghost here, it was like someone shoved like 12 AAA batteries in her. She just was like, there's ghosts everywhere.
I know the bartenders, weird things do happen, and really it began right after we bought the building.
Right now, you're just trying to downplay the ghosts so they don't all quit. Am I right?
Right. We don't want them. They're really nice right now.
Friends right now.
But the bar itself and the brew house were built out of wood from the upstairs. We call it tobacco wood. They had rooms sectioned off, and I had one of our employees before we opened up. He was coming in and taking the siding off the rooms and to build the bar and everything. And he texted me one night. It was a Friday night, and he has a picture of our big tripod ladder. It weighs about 100 pounds, big heavy-duty ladder. And it's laying on its side. And he said, well, I went down to go to the restroom, and I come back up, and the ladder's laying down. He said, so he was working a little bit more, and then later he sends me another picture, and it's this dusty table with these swipe marks on it. And the text said, I'm out of here. The doors aren't locked. I didn't shut the lights off, but I'm not coming back until you get here.
For lack of a better word, fuck this shit.
Yeah, pretty much. And we didn't even have beer then, so.
Oh man! So there's no point in saying.
There's no bribery to get him to come back. We'll give you beer.
He was cutting the siding off, and he ran the battery down on the Sawzall, and he set that Sawzall on the table, picked up the other Sawzall and started cutting the wood off, and then he heard the Sawzall hit the floor behind him. And that was the swipe marks that he took a picture of. So when I get here, I come in, and it's wintertime, and it was dark. I go upstairs, and all the lights are on, the Sawzall's on the floor, and I walk that way through the building, and all the lights are on pull strings.
Let's just show me a picture of a ghost right where my crotch is sitting right now.
Yeah, it's actually right over there. But yeah.
Okay.
But I think it was on that bar stool.
Oh.
No, it's real. So you're on the lights?
I'm good.
Yeah, so I walk through the building.
I'm leaving.
This is some good stuff.
Shutting the lights off. I get in the building like a dumbass. I shut them off, and I have to walk back through the building in the dark. I remember that because I kept running into the walls where he'd been cutting the wood off. So I come downstairs. I think he's in the building just playing a joke on me. And so I come down here, I start working on the bar, and I work for a couple hours, and I run the battery down on my drill. So I go back upstairs to get the batteries off the Sawzalls, and all the lights are back on. So, and they're on these pull strings. So
That's a good picture.
I go through the whole building, all 3 floors, looking for him. I can't find anybody in the building because I thought he was just joking with me. I shut all the lights off, grab the batteries, come back down, work till about midnight, get ready to leave, and I thought I'll just go up and check. And I start up the stairs, and one of the lights is on again. So I said, screw it. I went home.
And you own the place, so you can't be like, fuck it, I quit.
Yeah, I can come back the next day, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here we are. I'm talking to them before we did this, and I'm like, we want to come do a paranormal special. And she left out the fact that this is probably the most haunted place in the entire city.
We got to get these pictures posted in the description for this podcast. These are really good pictures.
You want me to tell them about the door in the bathroom? I told him to solve.
This one right here. That's a good.
Yeah, that's sitting right there at the bar.
That's at the.
So
that's right where you guys are sitting.
That guy is hammered drunk.
yeah.
No, I think he was pissed.
He just got some of the premium puppy batch, and he's.
It literally looks like he's got his one elbow on, and then his arm over here just like waiting.
His wife just divorced him. Look at him.
Yeah, we were looking on the security cameras for something else that had happened the day before, and all of a sudden, as we're going through them at high speed, we see this thing pop up, and it stayed on there for about 2 hours, and then disappeared again. It just popped in, popped out.
He just hung out for 2 hours.
Just
I was talking to you next to the.
Yeah. She called me one day and she goes, "Who are you talking to?" And I'm like, "Nobody. I'm by myself." And she goes, "No, there's a guy standing right next to you in the." And I go, "Yeah," and I'm like, "There's nobody here. I'm in the brew house." She goes, "I know you're in the brew house. He's standing right beside me."
Oh gosh.
And I'm like, "No." Yeah,
That's
she
so
took
good.
a picture of it. Yeah.
Those pictures are really good though.
Has the mannequin complained of being sexually harassed by any of the ghosts at all, or is she?
She is
fine with it.
I guess she is
She's
a
uneasy,
slut.
just like us.
Yeah.
She's got a smile on her.
She doesn't have any hands, so she can't really reciprocate too much.
Yeah.
She's seen some things.
She's a frigid bitch.
Frigid. So good.
Well, thanks again for having us, and
Thank you very much.
this has
Thank
been
you for coming out.
tremendous opportunity for us.
I'm gonna check out the fire engulfed upstairs before we leave.
Yeah, and I think we have there's some other employees that want to share some of the god awful stuff.
Some juicy deets.
Juicy tidbits.
You got puppies and flowers and babies and
the kids' doors,
fires.
the bathroom doors.
Oh, the little baby.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh wait, okay.
So there again, we use more wood because we repurpose everything here.
Right.
And it seems like every time we do something with the building, some weird things start happening. That we put the doors on the bathroom stalls in the women's room, and Anna painted them one night, and then we left. We come back the next day, and there's these little kids' handprints all over them.
Oh
And
jeez.
she has a picture of that also.
It's up there, and it's like on the bottom.
Part of the stall.
Are they still
door.
there? Or did you guys paint over them?
Painted over them.
Oh, she burnt the doors.
Burnt that. She's responsible for the fire.
Yeah, she's the reason the upstairs is burnt. 'Cause she burnt the doors upstairs.
Go ahead, Amanda.
Our first
Next one up.
bartender.
What are you drinking?
I've seen.
Wicked Mother.
What is it?
That was really good.
Wicked Mother.
Oh yeah, that's what I
Good
had.
one.
That was my second one. It was really good.
It's cold outside, so it's a good
Delightful.
one.
Right. Something to warm your innards up.
Well, what's your name?
Amanda.
Amanda.
Yes.
And you're a bartender.
Yes, I've
So
been
that-
here for about over 2 years.
So that means you see all the terrible shit.
I usually open on the weekends by myself. So.
Ooh, that's fun.
Yeah,
So
it's
these
a lot of
ghosts,
fun.
are they active in the morning? Well, you guys open like
They are.
afternoon.
We open at 11 on
Okay.
the weekends. So they're pretty active in the morning. I've also been, when I first started working here, I have been back in the game room, and there's been little to no people here, just me and another bartender, and I've heard somebody running back and forth upstairs. And there's no one up there, it's locked, and it literally sounds like little kids just running back and forth.
And sometimes they find handprints. Hard to connect. Hard to connect the two. But I definitely say it's haunted by little kids.
You would think, yeah.
We had a party, it was probably our anniversary party, our first year anniversary. I popped all the balloons, and I thought I'd gotten all of them, and nobody was in the brewery, just me, and I think it was just Anna and Glenn, and a balloon was being pulled across the brewery. Not floating.
No way.
It was being pulled across the brewery, and I was like,
Did you put it in your?
It was fucking Pennywise.
yeah. I'm looking at it, and I'm trying to think, is there air blowing? I'm looking all over the place, and
It's
it's
just-
legit. It's just.
What in the world?
And Anna's completely unfit. It's just Satan. Don't worry about it.
It's just
Yeah.
a succubus.
They don't hurt anybody.
No, but I think they know that I'm a little afraid of them.
They mess with her.
They do. I'll come in and they won't be here, and I will hear talking going on, and I just I'm nobody's answering.
Does it bother you now, or are you just kind of like meh?
I kind of got used to it at first. It really did
I can't
bother
get
me.
used to something like that.
Yeah, I don't know if I could.
It's kind of freaky when you're in here by yourself.
I mean, we spend the night there all the time. Water running.
Why would you do that?
If I had a brewery, I would spend the night here all the time. I love beer, so I mean.
We have a 4 to 5 minute drive.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if I find baby handprints on the wall.
Well, I think the guy at the bar just
I'm
wanted
here,
to drink.
I like babies.
Maybe.
I'm by the wall.
It's
Goosebumps right now. Shit. But the water running, I'll be like, and I'm like, did you leave the water running? He's like,
And the dishes in the kitchen, sometimes it's almost like somebody's completely just taken their hand and swiped off the dishes in the kitchen. You'll just hear a huge bang.
Oh, jeez.
And
Sounds like you got yourself some poltergeists.
Right.
no, they're not.
If they're,
Poltergeists aren't inherently evil. They just like to mess with stuff.
They're mischievous.
Yeah, they're mischievous.
Our people are nice.
Demons are the ones you got to worry about.
Yeah.
We don't have
You just have the fun ones. Yeah.
funny ones.
It's fine. I'm a minister. I can keep them out.
We like them. We get along great.
All right.
That's good.
Yeah, we'll just leave it.
Did any of you other guys have anything awesome to tell us about?
She does, but she's scared.
Another bartender.
I have to open tomorrow, so maybe this that they. Oh yeah.
And what's your name?
I'm Alicia.
Alicia, and she was like, when I went to the bar looking for the other girl, she's like, there's some shit that goes on here. And she was kind of freaking out for a second. I'm like, should be good to talk to.
Glenn's the one that told. He knows the most. Him and Anna, but
I've seen some shit.
I've told you, but it was last Christmas. I was here by myself closing. Music's off, doors are locked, and the Christmas tree's over here in this corner. And all of a sudden, the bell on the Christmas tree starts jingling. And I'm looking around. I'm like, who the hell could that be? Like,
Those little demon babies that run around and are excited for Christmas.
So-
Right, exactly.
it just kept jingling and jingling. So I went and walked over there. I didn't really see anything, but I called Anna because I was freaking out. I'm like, please look at the cameras and tell me there's nobody in here with me. And she goes, are you crazy? I said, the damn bell on the Christmas tree is jingling.
Oh, man.
So then there was another night I was closing and the bathroom door opens. And the women's bathroom's creaky. Like, you can tell when someone's coming in and out, especially when the music's not on and stuff.
Right.
And I was scared to death, but I go in there to make sure there was nobody in there, and there was nothing. But the door, I swear to goodness, it opened.
What if there's just a random woman in there pooping?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I was
Told me I could show myself around to take a shit.
When you gotta go, you gotta go.
But yeah,
I try and use the bathroom at Lucky
there's been
Star
multiple
Brewery.
times I will call Anna, like, please watch the cameras and make sure I leave out of here safe because I'm freaking out right now. And she's like,
I couldn't imagine.
Some
It's
of these,
fun. It makes for an entertaining work day, though.
yeah.
Yeah, I remember the turnover here is awful, though.
Oh, they've been here since we opened. That's great.
They've probably been here
years
longer
now.
than you guys have.
Oh yeah. But I won't close by myself. No more.
Well, that sounds like a lot of awesome stuff.
That's fun. That's the stuff that I like.
And we got the pictures to go along with it.
Trash bags. Why?
We'll have to take a look upstairs and get some pictures of upstairs so you guys can see what it looked like.
Sounds like a good job for you two.
I'm on it. I'm all over it.
Tell Glenn to take you up there.
Yeah.
Hey Glenn. They want to go upstairs, Glenn.
After this is over, if you're feeling froggy.
Give you the key to go upstairs.
All right.
I'll tell you what we tell everybody. Your odds are very good because 3 out of 4 people do come back.
Oh, God.
Awesome. I would love to be the one that
I'm
does
too
it.
chubby. I'm really hard to move. So I'll come back.
We just got to run faster than you.
Yeah.
All right.
We have another room.
Oh, okay.
Step on in.
She's got some stories to tell. Look at her.
Just went upstairs.
I'm a first-time upstairs, so...
Yeah, this
Oh,
just
okay.
happened.
All right.
Timer here.
Okay, I'll tell my story.
Go ahead.
We
Your
welcome
name?
it.
I'm Amanda.
Amanda,
And I'm
all
a
right.
regular.
Okay.
And didn't realize that they had a second and third story.
Oh, the
this
second
building.
and third story.
Yeah, I will never go to the third story ever again.
Without a diaper.
Well, no, never again.
All right.
And you're, no.
With or without. Okay.
So, went up to the second floor, took a picture, right? You know, you go up there and you see a weird doll with claymation basically over it, and you're like, what are you guys doing in this brewery? Like, why are there claymation dolls? Apparently, they're here in the brewery. Like, you'll go upstairs, you'll see it.
Okay.
You have pictures of it.
Yeah.
But you go over and see the burn marks on the side of the wall, right?
Right.
Took a picture, saw orbs. Perfectly circular orbs in the picture that I showed. I'm like, hey, Anna, look my way. Look. You know, there's orbs in this picture. Whoa, this is weird. Went to go post it, the orbs are gone. They're gone. Completely gone.
You done
so
fucked up.
No, I didn't mess up that picture. So, came downstairs, I'm like, gotta catch my breath. I'm like, okay, this is weird. Go back upstairs, go take the picture. Took the picture, orbs are there. But when you know it, there's a carnation laid on the floor.
Which wasn't there beforehand.
It was not. It was
Yeah.
not. It was not there before. It was
Where would it have come from?
I don't know.
Exactly.
Go upstairs. There's literally nothing upstairs with fake flowers.
I'm cool on that, bro.
Like I will show you the picture. There's literally nothing upstairs.
I saw the picture. Yeah, she showed me the picture.
Like it was just laying perfectly in front of the broken glass.
Did you die?
No, I didn't
Did you
die.
die?
But I will tell you, I will never go upstairs again because it's scary. Like
I can't wait.
That's definitely spectacular. That's
enjoy,
spoopy.
boys.
It's very spoopy. Spoopy is when it's spooky and it scares the poop out of you.
Enter
So
and
spoopy.
drink at your own risk, and the beer here is amazing.
It is
really
definitely
is.
amazing.
It really is.
I love this place.
So
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're
you're
awesome.
very welcome.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Yes.
Fill your glass before you go up there.
I need to.
No, do it. You'll need it.
All right.
I have a question.
Sure.
Is it true Waynesville, Ohio is the most haunted town in all of Ohio?
They say.
Waynesville?
Yeah.
Athens.
Athens is really. Athens has a really good track record. Yeah, Athens. Woo! Moo, what up, dog?
Four
Yeah,
people.
I think Athens might be, but I think Waynesville's up there as well.
They do haunted tours in Waynesville.
They do a lot of them, yeah.
And they claim that they're the most haunted town.
So I went to.
If I was to say so, I would say that Athens for sure probably is, and I think Waynesville's probably there.
Have you been to the Sauerkraut Festival before? Well, I went there. I think it was 2 years ago. I walked in with to one of the antique shops with my family, and we walked up to the counter, and I had my daughter with me, and I said, "You guys need to be careful because this place is haunted," and I didn't know that. And the lady at the front desk is like, "He's right. It is haunted." And I'm like, "Holy shit!" And my daughters,
you filled your bloomers full.
They freaked out. I was like, "Oh!" I had to pretend like I was strong because I'm dad, you know. But I was secretly just messing my pants. But yes, I've heard that there's a lot of fire-related deaths and paranormal activity in Waynesville.
I've been on the haunted tour a couple times in Waynesville, and they like to emphasize the Stetson House.
Yeah, I've heard of the Stetson House, yeah.
I guess it's the guy who invented like the Stetson cowboy hat.
Yeah.
And something going on with that house in particular.
You know that guy got laid all the time.
10-gallon hat.
That old 10-gallon
That's
cowboy
a
hat.
Stetson. Blue Stingray boots.
That's why I made a 10 gallon so you could, cover it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for the local area, I think we really only got one left.
Yeah, Victoria Theater.
Victoria Theater. Let's clutch up on that, and then I want to go upstairs. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
She's the OG.
She's the OG. She's the one that told us about all the spoopy stuff here.
No, you're okay. It's a short story.
It's okay. Go ahead with your name. Let's start with your name first.
You really want to know the name? You won't remember.
They told me your name was. I think they called you Z.
Yeah. It's Celestia.
Oh, that's a pretty
That's
name.
what I was gonna guess.
You look like a Celestia.
Okay.
So it was whenever I worked in the kitchen.
Okay.
I kept hearing little kids laughing, but there was only it was one of our old bartenders, and then it was
I can't do the kids.
one of our regulars. So it was one of our regulars that always came here, and I kept looking out through the little doors back there, and because I was wondering where are the kids laughs coming from. So then the last time I looked out, and I looked pretty freaked out, and one of the regulars she looked at me and she was like, "What's wrong?" And I was like, "Is there kids back there? Is there kids in the game room?" She was like, "No, it's just me and Derek, the bartender." So I'm like,
I don't like it. I don't like it.
So I'm like, okay. So then I go back and I'm doing the dishes still, and then the kids start laughing again. So then I walk out and I'm like, okay, so I'm just gonna sit here for a little while until whatever is going on back there stops. So yeah, so that's my little tiny story. There was no kids there.
Gotta let it air out.
Yeah.
You just think of the little twins from The Shining. They're just chilling.
Really?
That's no bueno.
Until this, I've been here for 2 years, and then it's taken me 2 years to go up to the second floor by myself, and then up to the third floor. I won't go up.
Oh, I'm so excited! I can't wait.
I literally will not go up there.
That's awesome.
Scary. So.
Well, thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're awesome. Let's go. Let's bring Moo up here before we get into our last story.
All right.
Moo! Turtle, yeah. Dude,
Hold on a second.
This is his second appearance here.
All right. What's going on, guys?
Hello.
What's up?
You guys got Timmy hammered, brought him to a bar. Oh my God, he's
Do you need
fucking
your
wasted.
notes? Do you need your notes?
Yeah,
This is Moo's second appearance here on the podcast.
I came prepared, so
he came prepared. He brought his own notes and everything.
He joined us for an episode we did about sex demons.
I learned so much. It was so educational.
If you're not familiar with Brohio, we had an episode on sex demons.
Yeah, it was a pretty fun episode.
They brought me in as the resident expert. I know all there is to know about sex demons. So if you're wanting to know, just hit me up later. I'll talk about a pink dolphin.
The pink dolphin, yeah.
Not the toy.
Let's not even get into that too much.
So tell us what you got, Moo.
All right, so this is a story that happened back when I was in high school.
You went to high school?
Yeah, actually, I did.
We all went together.
Yeah, we were there at the same time.
I was gone, dude. I was faded.
I was blasted.
Fucking lit.
Let us have it.
Anyway, the woman who wrote Haunted Ohio, Miss Chris Woodward? Woodyard, yeah. She came and spoke. Were you guys there when that happened?
I don't know, honestly.
We didn't go to school in the 50s like you.
Back in my day, this used to be all.
But yes,
Orange
I remember.
Grove.
I do recall her. I bought the book. I still have it.
We had the book, but I don't remember the.
Well, she spoke at the high school.
Okay.
And afterward, I was stage manager for all of the thespian stuff.
Right.
And we showed her around because that place was extremely weird.
Right.
Doors would open and shut for no reason. Tools in the back would go missing. It was just a weird experience all the time. So we took her around the various areas in the stage, the catwalk, our costume shop, all that other stuff. And when she went backstage, she said she felt a really negative energy, which was, she could have been bullshitting us.
Right.
So
she's just trying to make you feel good.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we're like, check out our shit, it's haunted. She's like, right. So, but when we took her up to the catwalk, she said she saw a child, which correlates with a lot of the actors at the Ridge when they're on stage.
Right.
They see a kid running.
Through the catwalks?
Yeah, during performances.
God.
So you can't really say anything to anybody because you're performing.
I didn't know about this.
Yeah, it's freaking weird, man.
I heard about it before.
The one that really freaks me out, and this was long before our time. This is probably during your brother's time. But there was a kid who hung himself in the costume shop.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I've heard that.
And
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, and when she went in there, she said there was a guy hung, screaming for help.
Sure.
Crazy.
And she didn't help him.
No, not at all. She was very
completely
rude.
Discredits her as an author.
Right? And as a person. Fuck that lady.
What kind of author are you? You don't help a boy that's hanging.
Yeah, she'll just
Poor
write
guy.
about it.
He was playing with himself.
She's like, hey, can you write about this, or can you help me get down? So,
Autoerotic asphyxiation.
She was
Total
into
thing.
it.
A little help, please.
Right? But yeah, she mentioned that she was going to write about this in her book. I don't know if she ever got approval. I don't know if she ever wrote a book again. But
she died.
And yeah, that's it. So that's what I got.
That's awesome. Northridge High School right there for you.
Our school was a little bit spoopy.
It was a little
alma mater.
Yeah, it was good.
I'm so ashamed to say that.
I slipped on a Magnum in the bathroom one time and hit my head. Had to get stitches.
The only thing I really remember about that school is I don't remember who it was, but I remember it was one of the stoner kids. Told me they made me leave class to go look into the bathroom, and there was the most monstrous turd I've ever seen in one of the toilets. And they couldn't get it to flush, and they thought it was the best thing they've ever seen.
They called you in to cut it up.
Yeah, this is the type of school we went to. Well, let's get into our last stop of the evening, which is the Victoria Theater. And this was a really cool story. I'm going to get into a little bit of the history of the Victoria Theater, because this is actually a very well-respected and notorious theater, throughout the country. It's not just a Dayton thing. Now, the Victoria Theater is located in downtown Dayton. It is on North Main Street, and it's one of the oldest continually ran theaters on this continent. So, like I said, it's a pretty big deal.
It's OG.
It is OG. It has also, of course, a long and tragic history as well. Now, the original theater was built in 1866 and was called the Turner Opera House when it first opened. Now, I do say original because this theater has survived through a few murder attempts by various different elements.
What?
Yeah, 3 years after it was built, a fire destroyed the main hall. It was reopened 2 years later after construction. Now, in 1913, it was heavily damaged along with most downtown buildings due to the monstrous flood that Dayton had at the time.
Fake news.
Now, in 1918, another fire had burned through the interior of the building. So this is the second fire in its existence, and it completely burned the main room of the. And now, within the next year, it was once again rebuilt and reopened as the Victory Theater, I should say. Now, by 1967, the entire area of downtown was pretty much in a bad state, which was called urban decay. And a lot of it still is. It's being rebuilt.
It's coming back.
It's coming back. There's a lot of really nice condos and stuff that are going up in there, apartments and stuff. Now, urban decay, if you don't know, is a term that they use whenever an area of population falls into utter disrepair, essentially. So that can attribute to population changes, big businesses that were, big businesses that were making the money in the area moving out of there. A high local unemployment area and crime contributed to a lot of the area. So the theater was set to be demolished after almost 48 years worth of disrepair, but was halted due to public outcry and was actually placed on the National Register of Historic Places. So that pretty much granted them a halt of demolition for the time being.
On our iTunes, we've only got one-star review, and the username is Theater Fans. So I ain't got no time for theaters, bro.
I'm good, man. Now let's get to the good point. Let's get to the dead people.
Yay!
There are three main spirits that are said to haunt the theater. The main ghost is an actress, and she actually acted at the theater, and they called her Vicky. Now, Old Vicky is considered one of the most active ghosts in Dayton. Now, that is because you can, anybody can pretty much see her on an average night. Now, what happened to her is that one night before she was about to go on stage, and she was set to go on stage, she pretty much completely disappeared. Staff had went up to her room to go get her whenever she had failed to return, and her room was completely empty. She wasn't there. Now, the guards are at the base of the stairs and said that she never came down the stairs. So they had no idea what had happened because, as of their recollection, she went up and never came back down.
Aliens.
I don't know, therefore aliens.
Yeah, so that's
pretty simple.
That's pretty juicy.
It was the Greys.
I'm not a rocket surgeon, but that's aliens.
A rocket surgeon? Yeah. Now, the thought was that she was possibly murdered, and then her body was placed into some type of a trunk, and she was carried out inside of that trunk. But the
You got some junk in that trunk?
Nope,
just a
no,
dead lady.
just got Vicky.
I got Aunt Vicky.
It's just Vicky.
She's got Pall Malls and Pepsi in there. She's fine.
Now, the night that Vicky vanished, she was wearing a taffeta dress, which is a slutty, silky dress.
I drag. I know what it is.
I've seen it, Nick. It's
She was wearing a sexy little number, and she had rose perfume. She's wearing rose perfume. Now, to this day, employees will say how they can often hear the sound of the swishing of the dress and a lingering of rose perfume.
They can smell her farts.
It's just someone who sprayed the bathroom after they shat.
You know what that is? That's a Vicky fart.
Now, the mystery of what has happened to Vicky had never been solved, so to this day, it's still an unsolved mystery. Now, another spirit that inhabits the theater is one of a young woman who they call Lucille. Lucille was attacked in one of the theater boxes at night during a performance. Now, once she died, her ghost returned to that box that she was attacked in. On one occasion, when a man entered the box, he was slapped. So he was bitch slapped by someone who was not there.
He got a mushroom stamp.
So that guy even had a handprint imprinted on his face by someone who was never actually there.
It was where's my drug dealer?
Exactly. Where's my money?
He's got a bad deal. There are reports as to what happened. There are different reports to what happened to Lucille. Some say that she had actually died after the attack, and others say that she had actually lived a long life, but the trauma of that night had actually tied her to that location.
That's fantastic.
And we've, from what we've looked into, a traumatic event, if gone if they haven't dealt with what exactly had happened, that tragic event could physically tie them to the world that we know.
Right.
So it's that very well could be the possibility.
So don't die in an emotional tragedy.
Yeah, don't.
That's the tip to everyone out there.
Don't die in the booth. Now, the last ghost, which is what I found the least information amount on of the three, he is an unknown male entity who was said to have actually committed suicide.
God rest his soul.
R.I.P. He attached actually a knife to the back of one of the seats and used it to impale himself on. So he.
What a way to go!
I figure if you're going to kill yourself, just strapping a knife to the back of a seat and just
that seems
slamming your back. That's
like a long way.
Sex
accident.
That's like a long way. Yeah. Now, his ghostly face has been spotted on the curtains backstage. So he's like, hey guys,
getting it in.
I'm still here. I'm still here, guys. And that's all I have on the Victoria Theater.
Wow. And that's the end of the live show.
Oh yeah.
I think it went all right.
It went okay.
Minus the feedback we were fighting with in the beginning. I think we worked it out. The mannequin didn't move. That's good. We had lots of good guests.
And she's still looking hot as ever. Someone cut a hole in that thing.
I think we're going to go upstairs real quick.
Yeah, I'm going to go upstairs. I'm going to check it out.
I'm going to break all this stuff down.
And then we may let you guys know what we find.
Thanks again.
Thank you. We love you. Thank you, guys. Get a beer. Tip your server.
Yeah. Woo! Tip your bartenders.
Tip your bartenders. Spend all your money. Empty your bank accounts. Thank you.
Ohio out.